And we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to the second exciting episode of the week of the whatever this fucking disaster is. Um, I did like 2 hours last night, and I was just in the mood to do more. You know what I mean? Today was whatever. It's my normal day off, um, and so I did next to nothing, as is my wont. But I was sadly like ridiculously sober last night. We have to fix that. We have to restore balance to the universe, and part of the way we do that is with some Romanian grape juice. And the reason why we do that is because it's a measurable, controllable high. That's the key. Hey, wait, I just lost my one viewer. I had one viewer. They just left. Oh well. Womp womp. Anyway, anybody catching this, by surprise? Say, like, what do you mean he did a second one? Yeah, I did a second one. And there's stuff. Part of the things that really that irks me is that a lot of people that think that they're going to be part of the future are they're just delusional. When I was a kid, way back in the day. Uh, People always played lottery games, right? Everybody, like working class people, always trying to get rich, right? They're going to take a chance. There was the Irish sweepstakes. There was different things. But back in New York City, when the lottery was like $1 million or $2 million, this when I was a kid, this was gigantic money because you could get like 6% interest, and people would say, "Oh yeah, man, I'll win $1 million, and I'll just live off the interest," because that was like 50 or 60 grand back then. And 50 or $60,000 was a lot of money in like 1977. You know. None of that's possible anymore. But there was people would, before the internet, only 3 channels of television. People on a summer night, they'd sit around and they'd socialize, and a popular topic of discussion is what I'm going to do when I win the lottery. Right? This is what people would always say. They would always go on. They'd say, I would help people. I would, you know what? I would help people. They'd virtue signal, like, I'm going to be rich and you're still going to be poor as dirt, but I'll be a good rich person, not an evil rich person. And when I think of these, I see all these social media accounts, that they think the future is going to look like something like out of the 1930s. I'll give you an example of this. Give you a perfect example of this, and why. Or the people who think this are fucking children. And like, I don't mind, like every now and then I talk to an actual child, you know what I mean? It's not that common, but every now and then I talk to like a little kid, and you go into the little kid's world, you know what I mean? They don't know what the fuck reality is. It's fucking mommy and bicycle and naps and ice cream and shit or whatever the fuck. And whatever. So you're nice to the little kid, but they're little kids, and it's not your job to fucking strip them of their fucking innocence. And show them how bad the world really is. You want to let them kind of grow up to adulthood and kind of gain some strength and some fucking a thicker skin than a child has in order to say, okay, like, to stop in the way the world really works. But there's lots and lots of people who haven't done that. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about last night. What's his name? What happened? Gilbert Salgado, who is, I think, at least half a tribe member. I know it might be full-blooded. I'm not sure. He's, what the hell was he saying? He said something that really got under my skin. But it mostly had to do with, we got to all become communism. We got to do this. We got to do that. Listen, it's, you're not a child, and I'm not treated like, I don't treat adults like children. I just don't do that unless I know you're retarded. That's why I call you people retarded all the time. Not because I'm trying to grow my audience, but because a lot of times you're retarded. You're believing in shit that just isn't true. You know what I mean? That all of a sudden human beings are going to behave in ways that they haven't ever behaved in ever before in history. But you're going to call it a different name, and you're going to rearrange the rules this way and that way, and then magically human nature is going to transform itself from its current state, whether you like it or you don't like it, to whatever your perceived perfected state is, right? And this is super common amongst these wannabe right wingers, these fucking Nancy boys who can't come out of their fucking house because somebody's going to punch them in the nose and take their lunch money. And who's this guy? What the fuck is this guy's name? Cherry. Trene? I don't know. They give himself. He's got some fucking half-ass Japanese name. Probably walks around his house in a fucking bathrobe all day. Imagines he's a samurai warrior. Probably imagines he's a samurai fucking warrior. Right? So let's see how fast this comes up. This to me was like the epitome of all of these people. This is all of them in a nutshell. And they're exactly like the working class chumps who used to sit around for hours and hours and tell people, what they would do once they won the lottery and became rich and didn't have to work anymore. They would do this and they would do that, and it was all a dream world. It was all a complete and utter fantasy, right? It's you're describing your, the part of your fantasies of how you think things will be if you got everything you wanted, but no one ever gets everything they want, and you don't get anything really without taking it. Whether you take it with permission or without permission, whether you take it after exchanging something of value, that's or you just outright fucking take it. It's never handed to you. If it's handed to you, you're a child. So what's it? Cherne associate. It's some fucking bullshit. Some bullshit fucking half Japanese name. So what does he tweet? He goes, "What will be your job in the fascist empire?" Right. So for absolute sure, everything's going to change somehow, some way. Question mark, question mark. Now we live in a fascist empire. What's your dream job going to be? This is as fucking naive as like and as childish as you could possibly fucking get. Nobody who posts anything like this unironically, and this guy you could see he's got a picture of whatever fucking Hitler and 3 fucking whatever numbskulls from back in the day. All of this living in the 1930s fantasy world is they do it because they can't deal with today's real world. You know what I mean? Your inability to emotionally cope and navigate the current world makes this 1930s black and white fantasy where Hitler comes back and he hands out whatever your dream job is, because there's nothing that an autocratic Teutonic supremacist needs more than people who who sit in their fucking bedrooms all day on social media pretending to be Japanese cats or whatever the fuck this guy's pretending to be. Like, the guy who actually takes over the fucking world is going to be like, yeah, we need those people who pretend to be Japanese cats on the internet. We have a very important fucking jobs for them. Like, bring them in. Let's hear what role they want to play in the fascist empire. There will be no fascist empire ever. And the people who believe that are people who can currently afford to live in a world that is created for them by others. And their terror, is that world's going to end. And someday that world will end. Their parents are going to die. They're going to take out a reverse mortgage, whatever. You know what I mean? And then that's that. Then my 2 friends, my 2 allies, the 2 allies that I call homelessness and starvation. Right? Those are the 2 things that are on my side: homelessness and starvation. Okay, these 2 forces you ain't gonna beat. These 2 forces the world is terrified of. Nobody wants to be homeless and starving, right? And if homelessness and starvation comes to you, and it came to Gaddafi, it came to a lot of different people, right? It came to Saddam Hussein. A bunch of people ended up homeless and starving, right? They didn't really like it. People who really thought they were on top once they faced homelessness and starvation, all of a sudden shit changed real fucking fast. And there's a lot of people on social media that think, well, that's never going to happen to me. Well, if it happened to Gaddafi and it happened to a bunch of other people, trust me, it could happen to you, you know. And these are the people, like when I see tweets like that, I just mute those accounts. But I had to screenshot it first. Why did I have to screenshot it first? Because I'm currently in Twitter jail for a week. Somebody tweeted something or responded to something I tweeted, and admittedly, I suck at Twitter. You know what I mean? I absolutely suck at it. You know, I'm no master of fucking social media. But some dude comes onto my timelines saying some dumb shit, and so I give him like a cyber smack in the fucking head, and sooner or later, I get reported, and now I'm in a 7-day Twitter charge. I got a 7-day charge to work off. So there it is. All I can do, I can't retweet anybody. I can like certain things. I can send direct messages, but those are completely monitored. But whatever. Not that I send anything to anybody that you wouldn't be able to read out loud in court. But yeah, so I'm in Twitter jail for, as usual, some bullshit, because somebody, like the previous poster, like, what's your job going to be when the fascist empire takes over? You know what my job's going to be? I'm going to sell unicorns. I'm going to be a fucking unicorn salesman. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a unicorn farm, and I will sell unicorns, and I will sell you a unicorn that you can use to ride to your factory, where you offer people inspiration, where you provide inspiration to the masses. You know what I mean? That was the other thing that the fucking Gilbert saw. The masses need to be led. No, they really don't. They absolutely don't. You know what I mean? Other than you looking to be a parasitical scumbag, right, and live off the value generated by others. That's the only reason why you think the masses need to be led. None of these people, none of these schemes, right, of how we're going to reorganize society works with the guy at the top actually working. That's like, none of you dumb motherfuckers understand that. It's all just, well, we're going to arrange things in a different fashion, and some guy that I like is going to be at the top, basically doing nothing. You know what I mean? They're going to be extracting all the value upwards, which is what's currently happening, but it's going to be to a different group. It's not going to be to a bunch of small hats named the Rothschilds. It's going to be to a group of different people, and that's going to make the world a better place. And since you think you advocate for this, that these people at the top are going to be so grateful to you that they're going to give you some fucking cushy job where you just sit back all day and provide, inspiration, which again is parasitical. Nobody needs inspiration. People need tools, they need energy, they need food, they need shelter. Nobody needs fucking inspiration. If you're at the level of life where you're looking for inspiration, shit is way too fucking easy for you. You know what I mean? Those are the people who have a fantasy life. Those are the people who can't cross the street without fucking help. And you're amongst them. You just think, you want a different inspiration. A bullshit story of fucking doctrine, a bullshit story of politics that's different from this current bullshit story. You know what I mean? And again, you think you're going to be rewarded. Somehow you're going to be the middleman between the proles who have to produce shit and the elites, who are going to run shit, and you're going to be in the middle, and you're going to fucking, that's going to provide your lifestyle, because you're going to do podcasts or whatever the fuck. I don't know. What do you think you're going to do? You know what I mean? If nobody likes you right now in the real world, you know what I mean? Your own family doesn't like you, which is where you have to go out and fucking social media, put on a fucking, pretend to be a cartoon frog and talk nonsense to live with the other fucking retarded mental cases in a fantasy world. Like, that's how it is now. It's not going to be any different when Rice and Beans Hitler takes over. You know what I mean? Everyone in the fascist empire will hate you just as much as the people in the current empire do. You know what I mean? There's going to be no. It's not like they're like, wow, all of a sudden we believe different shit, so you will, you won't be the unpleasant, unpopular person you currently are. No, you'll be the same, and the reactions to you will be the same. And this is the sort of thing. All of this depends on agreements, right? On laws. You'll do this. You'll get this reward. You'll do this. You'll be responsible for that, right? All of civilization rests on agreements, right? Essentially laws, one way or another. And I was thinking about that movie Troy with Brad Pitt, and that's, well, I forget the title's down here. So the title of tonight's stream is Between Lions and Men, and there's a scene. Brad Pitt is Achilles, of course, and he's going up against Hector, and they're about to fight. It's like the climactic battle between the two champions. And the guy who plays Hector is this Australian actor, and he says, "Listen, before we begin, let us agree that whoever wins or whoever loses, whoever wins, they will allow the loser the proper burial rites, the burial rituals, that are customary, And Brad Pitt says to him this. Brad Pitt says, whereas put Brad Pitt in a plastic helmet, there are no agreements between lions and men. Civilization depends on agreements, right? You have to have a reasonable certainty that other people are going to behave in a certain way. If they behave like wild animals, they just come to just kill and take, then there is no civilization. That's the period, end of story. So when you get to the point, right, where men become lions, and all these people are fantasizing what tough guys they're going to be. Yeah, we'll see when it really happens. But when it gets to the point where it's the law of the jungle, and there are no longer any agreements that people respect, then you're gonna find out what you're really made out of, and all of your dumbass fantasies about what you think the future is going to be aren't going to happen. None of them are going to happen. All of the fucking feds that monitor these channels and the ones that did the Nazi march in Tampa, all these, like, when their pensions are gone, they think, oh, at the end of my FBI service, I'm going to get a pension. When their pension's gone, right, and their mortgage isn't paid off yet, and everyone hates them because they were in the fucking FBI, they're gonna find out, that the fucking lion's eating them. They haven't eaten the fucking, you know what I mean? They're not the predator, they're the fucking prey. Now, they can't imagine that could ever happen, but it absolutely could happen when this regime collapses, when the money stops fucking working. There will no longer be agreements, between men. It's just going to be fucking lions and men. And in that case, I suggest you have a fucking 8-foot fucking spear with a very pointy fucking tip to stick in that lion's eyeball, because they're coming for you, And that you see all this stuff. What kicked off again today? I was just looking at in Congo. They're looting the UN, and I don't know what else they're going to do in the next few days, but they're looting the fucking Congo, right? The United Nations, which I think has been running that, with the exception of the diamond mines run by our fellow whites. You know what I mean? Down there, the People's Democratic Republic of Congo, or whatever the fuck it is starting to kick off. And as usual, somebody's like, the Chi-Coms are down in the Congo doing whatever Chi-Com shit. Like this urge to, it's the most childish thing you could possibly do is when you don't deal directly with something, you just blame shift. You immediately blame shift. You can't say, listen, things in the Congo have gone from bad to fucking worse, and now people are behaving in a really Congolese fashion. It's all about shifting the blame onto someone else who isn't there or isn't going to defend themselves. And there was this was one that I particularly liked. What I just see this one. This was cool. I don't know what year this was published, but I'm guessing this is like World War One ish. This is like roughly World War One ish. And when you're doing this, when you're pointing fingers at, who's at fault here, who's at fault there, a lot of people who watch this channel will just fucking gobble this fucking shit up. And they'll conveniently forget that William the Conqueror was paying 40% interest on his fucking loans. And the richest man in England in the year 1000 was Aaron of Lincolnshire, who was Jewish. He had bishops owed him money. He had earls owed him money. He had entire towns that owed him money. But, somebody puts this fucking propaganda piece. Democracy is death by Jewry. Yeah, well, I could just hear the bitter fucking laughter of William the Conqueror. You know what I mean? Like, I could just hear that from the year 1000 floating around anybody who picked this up. Shifting blame, for the fact that you cannot control human incentive, and you don't control human incentive. Saying that's a different scheme. We have to have a different political scheme. We need communism. We need democracy. We need authoritarianism. You listen, you dumb sons of bitches. It doesn't fucking matter because people don't obey the rules unless it's easy to obey the rules, unless it benefits them. If the agreements benefit them, then they'll obey the rules. And when real incentive becomes too difficult, okay, they start throwing those fucking rules out left and fucking right. That's the reason why everything fucking fails, because sooner or later everything gets fucking tipped in one direction, and nothing works anymore. Nothing fucking works anymore. And America's not there yet, but America's going there. America's completely fucking going there. This was running around Twitter, right? Our buddies, when you want to talk about fucking gaslighting about like how bad could it get? Well, look, let's see what they're trying to convince you of fucking now. You know what I mean? Things that everyone agreed upon for I don't know how long, they're no longer agreeing upon, right? The White House spokesperson, I don't know what her name is, they declined to define what a recession is. A recession is 2 economic quarters or 6 months of negative economic growth. So they're not even going to, they're just going to redefine what it's not a recession. Why? Because we don't know what recession means. We don't know what a woman is. We don't know what recession means. They know who the terrorists are. They know who the domestic terrorists are and where to go get them. Right? They know about extremism, and that the white man is the devil, but they can't tell what a recession is. So when the official position of the White House is we don't know what a recession is, when the stock market drops like a fucking stone, right? Well, will that be an economic crash? And they're going to go, we don't know what an economic crash is. And they're going to go, but the Dow was 33,000 and now it's 7,000. Isn't that a crash? You know what I mean? And these, obviously the White House is on the back foot. They're fucking reeling from all their fucking mistakes. And they're desperately like, they don't know what to do anymore. They're like, Biden's got COVID. We don't know what a recession is. It's going to become more and more and more fucking retarded as things go on. But these are the people that are in charge, or these are at least the front men, the people that are in charge are obviously and behind the scenes. You think that they're going to hand you, they're going to go, oh, what's your fucking little set of rules, to run things? Okay, we'll use your set of rules because we're desperate. They don't give a fuck. They'll run the whole thing into the fucking ground as long as they're on top of it. They don't care. You need to understand, they don't care as long as they stay on top. As long as they stay on top, they don't fucking care. As long as they stay the lion and you stay the dudes running from the fucking lion, they're fine with it. They don't care what it's called or what it's not fucking called. You know what I mean? And those people are the debt slavers. Those are the people who have, put European royalty, in debt slavery for more than 1,000 years. And you sit there, you think you're so fucking high IQ because you read some fucking blog post about whatever, or you saw Gay Pride Parade, and this is going to fucking make everything, you imagine that something else was, so much better, and you, with of course no evidence. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. Glad to have you in the chat. Watching these people, these delusional people, with their various different schemes of how they think, something's going to fucking work. Oh, all I have to do is convince everyone that their ideas suck, my ideas are better, and I'll be the middleman between the fucking elites and the proles. I promise you, that's not what's going to happen. That isn't going to be what happens. It's never what happens ever. Okay, you come out of your house, right? And if you can't fight that lion off, you're in some real fucking trouble. And here's the way things have been sliding for the past 90 or 100 years. Somebody put this up. What $20 bought you in 1932, right? It would buy 482 gallons of gasoline. $20 would buy 427 gallons of milk, 657 dozen eggs, or 2,700 first-class stamps. That was in 1932. 90 years later, what can $20 buy you? 3.5 gallons of gas, 5.2 gallons of milk, 5 dozen eggs, 25 first-class stamps. So when we get to 2032, 10 more years, do you think things are going to get better? Do you think you're going to be able to get like more gasoline, more eggs, more milk, with the $20 bill, or will you get less, right? The trend has been downward, 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 downward. In the 20s, it says the 20s were so much better. There were no gay pride parades, there was no globalism, blah, 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 whatever you think it was better because the money was better. The money has gotten shittier and shittier, and you have to work longer for less, or the people who actually have to work, because most of the people that, with their fucking schemes of, here's my scheme, how I'm going to fix everything, they don't actually work. You don't produce anything of value, right? Nor do you have to make sure the people who produce value get paid. You do like nothing, You're like parasites in waiting. You know what I mean? You're just hoping for a different parasitical scheme to fucking take over, And I find that really childish and annoying. You know what I mean? Adults should be the part of the reason why I tell people unsubscribe to this fucking channel, because I don't need children to be around. You know what I mean? Like I said, little kids, I talk to a little kid on a tricycle and they go, "Hey, mister," and I go, "Hey, little kid," and I fucking go on my way. You know what I mean? Because they're a little kid. They don't understand what the fucking world is about. You know what I mean? But you show up here, you're over 21 and you're like, I have a fucking triple digit IQ and here's my grand master plan of how I'm going to fit. None of that shit's going to happen. You're living in just as much of a dream world as the kid on a fucking tricycle. In fact, the kid on the tricycle is probably grounded in fucking reality better than you, because at least he has to pedal himself up and down the fucking sidewalk. You know what I mean? You expect that you're going to provide, fucking vaporware. You're going to provide inspiration to people, Your fantasy is that you're going to be just as useless as you are now, but at a higher position in a culture that it conforms to whatever your fucking dopey fucking fantasies are. That's not the way it's going to be, And I don't want to talk to those people. I don't know whether those people listen to me. They don't listen to me. They don't listen to me. But I don't want, they come into this conversation, they're going to get smacked around because they're not children. Like children, like you don't, when children are they're dopey fucking kids. What the fuck do they know? They're fucking 8 years old. But you're fucking 28 years old. At some point you got to fucking stop being a child. And if you think, well, I'll just wander over there and be a child, I'm going to fucking beat you down. You know what I mean? I'm going to do everything I can to fucking humiliate you and make you stick your head in the fucking oven, turn on the fucking gas and kill yourself. You are completely unnecessary. You know what I mean? You're looking to be the fucking middle layer of parasite between the next group of fucking parasites that you think are going to take shit over. You know what I mean? Oh, somehow magically all the Jews are going to die tomorrow because whatever, Allah wills it. And then we'll just wake up and it'll be just empty yarmulkes all over. You know what I mean? Under a pile of dust. And then we're going to remake the world. That's not how it's going to fucking happen. There's going to be a really long, bumpy fucking ride. A really long, bumpy ride. And almost all of, like, you people are not engineers. You're not fucking chemists. You don't know how to work a jackhammer. You know what I mean? How many people, when I first started doing this, are like, oh, I can't do manual labor. I can't be outside. Or you love farmers. You love farmers because that's where the fucking food comes from. But what if the farmer says, you know what, I don't want to be a farmer anymore. You take over. That means everyone's going to die, right? We're going right to fucking Mao Zedong and the fucking Great Leap Forward. So that people who do not create value, right, and think that they should have a fucking say in anything it would be comic if it wasn't so fucking annoying. You know what I mean? If you could do it in a way that was a little more stylish, instead of annoying, that'd be great. That'd be really fucking great. Because most of the people that I agree with, they understand how funny this fucking is, right? This, oh wait, that's not what I clicked on. I clicked on the other one. This is absolute fucking amongst the favorite fucking things I've seen in the fucking news. Absolute favorite thing I've seen in, I don't know, a while. When's this from? Thursday, the 14th of, I think it was this month. Right? So all the things you think are true are not true. Tesla asks Texas, right, where they got all them oil wells, where all the energy is down in Texas, right? They got wind farms, they got everything. Asked Texans, don't charge your car to avoid overloading the national grid. I don't know how many Texans bought Teslas. Apparently a large number of them. And I've been to Texas. I drove across that state. It's fucking big. You know what I mean? So you're going to need a lot of electricity. You're going to need a lot of juice to run that Tesla up and down the highway in Texas. And it gets hot as fuck down there. It gets crazy hot down there. And I'm guessing that those Texans are plugging those cars in everywhere left and right. And they're drawing so much power, they could overload the national power grid. Okay. The people who are pushing all this ESG stuff and all this electrical stuff have no idea how power is generated, how it's moved around. They don't, like, all the electrical grid that pushes energy around this country is from like the 1930s and the 1940s. It's not meant to handle all the fucking juice that's flowing through it. And nobody's giving these, or nobody's forcing these utilities to upgrade this shit. So you have either well-meaning people or people looking for a tax break, running around in their Tesla cars. They're all high IQ people. They're not people like me. I wouldn't buy a Tesla car I wouldn't take one if you gave it to me. I really would. Like the idea that I got to spend 30 minutes at a charging station, like half an hour, fuck that shit. My fucking piece of crap fucking Toyota, right? I fucking gas up in 3 minutes and fucking go. 3 minutes if that's a long time. Rants. Yeah, of course, Trad Dad. Hey, Trad Dad. Welcome to the show, sir. Welcome to the show, mister. I'm just here I'm just here to sort of find out about crypto, but I don't really want to find out about crypto because I think the future is going to be some kind of thing where, well, I don't know, we all have, like, it's everything's different, but we still use paper receipts that are given to us by Jews, right? The Jews at the Federal Reserve, they're going to issue different paper receipts. The ones we have are green now, maybe they'll give us blue ones, maybe they'll give us yellow ones, whatever, like the government will be different and the culture will be different. And there'll be no more gay pride parades and there'll be no more whatever communist people somehow, but we'll still use the same paper receipts to buy and sell houses and shit, right? Tried that. I pray for crypto bros. I do not. They got to get burned. You got to get burned. There's Bitcoin and everything else is bullshit. I've said that a dozen times. I'll say it a dozen times again. There is nothing. Every crypto is a copy, is a ripoff, is a scam designed to take your money away from buying Bitcoin and handing it over to some venture capitalist or some fast talking fucking con man. Guys like Zoo, who's probably a little smarter. He mines Ether or whatever, Ethereum. He sells that shit fucking immediately. As soon as he gets it, he fucking dumps it because he knows it's fucking worthless. It's all about finding the greater fool, as they say. Bitcoin, on the other hand, entirely different. Entirely different. And these are the people. I really like this meme. I noticed in the back of this meme something from my real life. Something from my very, very real life. Is it going to show up? There it is. So there's a little Pepe, guys. Years of hard work to stack sats. You see he's got a construction hat on and a little drill. Hours of research. He's got a cigarette. I no longer smoke. But he's sitting there in front of the computer. Eyes are red. It's the middle of the night. He's trying to learn. Then you see Pepe in a car. It says driving a car that's older than Bitcoin. That's absolutely true. But if you look up in the corner of the car, there's a sign that says Satin Dolls. Satin Dolls is the famous strip club from the Sopranos TV show in New Jersey. And it is on Highway 17 in Lodi, New Jersey. And I pass by it all the time. So I don't know why they put that there, but I particularly enjoyed that. I particularly like that. The next panel is minimalist lifestyle. Well, you're looking at this show, right? There ain't much more furniture in this room than there is with that cozy Pepe. You know what I mean? Well, that must be a winter Pepe because I'm not heavily wrapped against the cold. I'm in fact trying not to fucking sweat like a pig, right? And then when number goes up, everybody says I got lucky. And then anyone who's dumb enough to come up to me in real life and tell me that I got fucking lucky, well, you're going to find yourself in a position of ballistic impact. I did not get lucky. I don't spend the fucking time I spend doing what I fucking do and converting my fucking Zog bucks into fucking Bitcoin because I'm looking to buy a Lamborghini and snort cocaine out of a supermodel's ass crack. That's not really why I'm doing what I'm doing. I really have a burn the ships mentality because the official inflation number, right, is 9.1%. That's the official number that just came out. So your money in the last quarter lost 10%. You just lost 10% of your buying power, right? Whether there's a recession, there's not a recession. Do we know what recession means? Is it recession? Is it recession? Eon? Well, whatever. All the dumb fucking word games you're going to fucking play, right? Your money is losing strength. You have to work harder and longer just to maintain your own lifestyle. And the people that control your money are evil and fucking insane. And I'm saying I don't want any part of that. Me, guaranteed, I fucking lose in this. 100% I fucking lose. There's no way for me to stay in this and win. So I'm leaving as much as I possibly can. I am leaving. That is the point of Bitcoin, is to leave this shit, this fucking empire of fucking debt slavery, to leave it forever. Now you could say, well, it's not guaranteed, blah, 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 blah. You're taking a big risk. You're right, I'm taking a big risk. You know what I mean? But like the conquistadors, man, when the conquistadors got to fucking South America, they pulled all the shit off the boats and then they burned the ships. Burn the fucking ships, man. It's win it or bin it, boys. You know what I mean? It's win it or bin it. Security guard buddy of mine doing well with a few obscure crypto brands, but I refuse myself to play. Yeah, again, crypto is bullshit. Bitcoin is not crypto. You know, to conflate the two, that's is you're getting it wrong. Whether you're getting it wrong because that's a convenient way for you to stay inside your comfort zone. Stay inside your comfort zone. You know what I mean? Maybe you're in a position where no matter what the inflation number is, you get pay raises based on CPI, or I don't know. Part of the reason why the things I say are a bit generic is because I don't know who I'm talking to and what your circumstances are. You know what I mean? It's impossible. It's insane for anyone to sit here and think that you could write a prescription. I'm Dr. James. I'm going to write a prescription for everything that's fucking wrong in your life, and then you're going to be fucking healed. Nobody can do that, right? You can talk in a general fashion about principles, about ideas, incentives, and then people hear this and think, well, how does that apply to my life? How does that apply to my life? That's the best you could possibly do. There's nothing else you can possibly do. Where's it? Okay, yeah, this one. This is a reality that this is something that everyone can see. Although this meme is not entirely, it's a bit lopsided, but whatever. It is what it is. We have to work with what we have. You know what I mean? We have to work with what we have. I remember riding down the New Jersey Turnpike when Obama got elected thinking, oh, Christ's sake, this guy can't destroy the entire country, can he? But I should have bought Bitcoin then because it was fucking 10 cents. But what the fuck did I know? I didn't know nothing. $50 back then would have me give me $300 million now. Okay. So here, this is from the Documenting Bitcoin Twitter account. And what it says is houses are for living in, not for saving money in. Real estate has increased so much in price because we did not have another option to save our wealth. Bank accounts only provide a few percentage points of interest if they provide any interest. And stocks are for investing. Stocks are high risk. So what other choices are there? And then he says Bitcoin fixes this. And it's got pictures of two little houses. On the left, it says in 2017, you needed 125 Bitcoins to buy a house. And in 2022, you only need 20 Bitcoins to buy a house. That's like average price houses. But this is the point a lot of Bitcoiners make, particularly with something like real estate, which has upkeep. You know, there's taxes you have to pay. If you don't pay taxes, the state's going to take, or the county's going to take, or the bank is going to take your fucking house from you. So it's pretty high maintenance. And then if you find the house in a desirable area, right, and you ride that fucking that value curve up because, you know, it's still a 95, 98% white neighborhood, and the value of the house skyrockets. When you sell it, you have to pay capital gains tax. So a lot of people made this choice because this is the choice that was available to them. It was understandable to them. All their friends encouraged it. Buy a house, buy real estate. You know, they always go up in value, right? This is what people did, you know, and that was probably the best thing you could do between the 1980s and now. You know, every now and then I mention this guy named Ziggy the Pollock. And there's a guy named Ziggy who's a Pollock. And Ziggy lives in a town in New Jersey that's 94% white. And he bought his house in the 70s. And the house is like worth almost $1 million now. And he's got a tenant that pays him cash under the fucking, you know what I mean? That's not reported and blah, 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 blah. Ziggy does the same work I do. And he works half a day, 5 days a week. and he smokes like crazy, and he did drugs his entire life, and he's a boomer, and he's a Polak, and he's like the wise choices I made when I was younger. He doesn't know what the fuck. He doesn't like. He has no idea what the f he's doing. His family set him up to not fail, and he just succeeded. You know what I mean? Now, mind you, there's a lot of boomer hate amongst millennials, but for all of Ziggy's flaws, and he is a deeply flawed human being, for all of Ziggy's flaws, the money he makes, because his house has been paid off for years, his wife works. He and his wife they pay off their son's mortgage. They send additional money to help pay off their son's mortgage faster. You know what I mean? Their son's got grandkids and stuff. So it's not this idea that the boomers are gobbling up all the wealth and leaving nothing for the kids. That's absolutely not true in the case of Ziggy the Polak, who, listen, again, he's a flawed person. I'm not holding him up as an ideal, but, he has, for what's worked for him, he's trying to make that work for his kids. Will it work? Will it last? I don't know. You know what I mean? But it's less and less likely. The politics of today, is going to fucking change. AOC is going to be considered a fucking conservative in 10 years. You know what I mean? There's like you should be hearing that scary music from the horror movies like everywhere you go, because things are not getting better. I just saw a fucking stat from the Chicago Police Department. They had 900 cops put in for retirement. You know what I mean? This year, and 50 cops applied to become new cops. So they're losing 900 and gaining like 51. This is America's second largest city. This ain't going to work out. You know what I mean? This is really, really not going to work out. And as you see different versions of this fucking all over the place. So trad dead. Bitcoin died. Dollar died. Bitcoin skied. Bitcoin was designed to defeat central banking. You know what I mean? That the US dollar happens to be the premier paper receipt that the world uses to buy and sell. That's just the way that's the way the cookie crumbled. You know what I mean? The euro attempted to challenge it, and the yen tried to challenge it back in the 80s. But the US dollar green paper receipt, and that's all it is. You can't redeem it for gold or silver. You know what I mean? It's a paper receipt issued by a corporation run by our fellow whites that controls your life, and they control the value of it depending on how much of it they print. I look at this, there's nobody you're going to elect that's going to change this. No one you're going to elect is going to change this, right? Ever. So if it's possible to escape from this, I'm going to try to do that, right? That's what I'm going to try to do. You can say that it's a quixotic quest, that I'm unlikely to succeed, that I might as well, whatever, just snort fucking cocaine out of a supermodel's ass crack because you need to be nihilistic and get monkeypox and do whatever. I don't want to do that, So my character kind of makes me want to be useful. And I think to myself, one, I'm digging my way out of this fucking prison by buying Bitcoin. And two, I'm going to point to other people like, hey, look, here's what I'm doing. Maybe you should consider doing it too. Tried that. Stated force diversity, equity, and equality is death of excellence and efficiency and standards. Yeah, there's only excellence and corruption. Aristotle said there's only excellence and corruption. And you can be oriented towards excellence or corruption. And that's, again, you may consider that an overly broad statement with an insufficient amount of detail, but those principles are largely true. Those principles are, you are either oriented towards excellence, always improving, getting closer and closer to that ideal, or corruption. You're looking for a shortcut, a way to get the reward without doing the fucking work, a way to get the reward you don't even deserve because you didn't do any work. You know what I mean? Or getting all the fucking rewards and making sure everyone gets nothing else, right? There's either excellence or corruption. And when I talked about hyperinflation, I still talk about hyperinflation, and I said all the weak economies, all the most corrupt systems, national systems, are going to fail first because it takes the least amount of pressure to destroy them. And the reason why is because there's nothing between the elites and the proles, right? The elite parasite class, whether that's fascism, whether that's monarchy, whether that's democracy, whether that's fucking aristocracy, I don't give a fuck what you call it. It's an elite parasite class. They produce nothing of fucking value. You know what I mean? They don't, any value that's created goes to them. It doesn't go to you. If it happens to go to you, it's by fucking accident. It's completely by fucking accident. And they're correcting those mistakes. You think of like Thomas Edison, right? Thomas Edison with the electricity, electrifying the United States. The light bulb, everybody wants electric power. Okay. A lot of guys had to go, like nobody knew what the fuck electricity was. Who the fuck knew what that was? People had to learn to become electricians to wire up the country and to build the power plants and blah, 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 blah. They had to create schools that were not 10-year schools or 4-year schools. You had to crank this shit out fast. People want, they want these electric light bulbs. You had to figure out how to give guys the skills to wire up houses and make sure they didn't burn down so everyone could get electricity so you could all drive out the darkness, right? This is a good thing. But in the process of getting these skills, after you would, created an electrician class, like a skilled class of laborer that there had never been before. There were plumbers before, plumbers back to fucking ancient Rome, even before that. So these people who were electricians, they could make a really good living doing other shit after they were done working for, whatever, the Tennessee Power Authority, whatever the fuck. They had the ability to create a lifestyle and create wealth for themselves and their families that they hadn't had before. Okay. But you can't do that now. Walmart's not going to allow that. Amazon's not going to allow that. By the way, Amazon's going into the supermarket business. Amazon's literally going to take over everything. And everyone's going to be a widget in the giant Amazon fucking super machine. Amazon is looking, I know, in just north of Paramus, New Jersey, there was this, I don't know if Stop and Shop is a nationwide chain. There's a chain of supermarkets in and around the East Coast called Stop and Shop. And they might be national, they might not be national, I don't know. But there was one north of the Paramus Mall that closed, and then it's been closed for a couple of months, whatever, I don't know, COVID, whatever. But there's a sign up, like coming soon, Amazon Fresh. You know what I mean? Amazon's going to go in there and they're going to have such lower costs, and the county or whatever the state's going to give them tax breaks to reopen a supermarket there. There'll be a supermarket again where there used to be a Stop and Shop. It'll be an Amazon Fresh, but that's that. People need to fucking eat, and that's the fucking reality. So all these people with their, the best thing about all these fucking ideologues on Twitter, I'm a fascist. Listen to me. Whatever you identify as, you're not, right? You could say, I identify as a unicorn. I identify as an 8-year-old girl. I identify as a furry creature. Your identity is fucking bullshit. When starvation and homelessness come to fucking meet you, there goes your fucking identity. Doesn't exist anymore. Because to escape starvation and homelessness, you will say anything, do fucking anything. You'll go from fascist to communist, from communist to fucking capitalist, to whatever, to fucking whatever, to avoid starvation and homelessness. Everybody will, because you ain't got the power to fight starvation and homelessness. You don't have that power, okay? When they come to visit you, my two allies, starvation and homelessness, the ones that provide me with the inspiration to get up and drive boxes all over the fucking East Coast, right? When they come to visit you, all your fucking ideology goes right out the fucking window, right? It's just gone. When your children come to you and say, I'm starving, when your wife comes to you and says, we're going to be fucking homeless, all of a sudden, you're not a Republican, you're not a conservative, you will fucking, Christianity, everything goes overboard, right? Until we can get some fucking shelter and food and fucking think about this and how to solve this fucking problem, right? So to pretend, when I see people tell me I'm this, I'm that, I'm a fascist, I'm a neo-monarchist, I'm fucking none of that shit. You can say shit like that because starvation and homelessness are far, far, far away from you. They're really far away. You know what I mean? That stuff you see in your smartphone. It's stuff you see on TV. It's something you read about in the newspaper. They're not real to you yet. But when they become real to you, everything you think you are, everything you identify as is fucking gone. Gone. Like it never fucking existed. All your stupid books, your fucking diplomas, all that shit, whatever the fuck, gone. When starvation and homelessness show up at your fucking door, you're fucking finished, pal. You're completely fucking finished. And that's what I talk about between lions and men. Men have agreements about how we're going to behave, and we're not going to behave, what's legal, what's acceptable, blah, 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 what's moral, what's this, what's that. And when the money breaks down, those agreements break down, okay? And there's no way to rearrange the scheme to make it work again. There's just no way, okay? The whole thing's going to fall over, and I suggest to you that you should not be holding a big bag of green paper receipts issued by Zog. That's all I'm saying. Like, listen to that. If you think the best strategy to navigate the coming fucking hard times is to have a big bag of paper filled, a big bag of green fucking paper receipts issued by fucking Zog, well, then I can't help you. Like, there's nothing I can do for you. You know what I mean? There's people that smoke crack that think crack fucking, improves their life. They're sleeping in a cardboard box in fucking McCarter Highway, near fucking Penn Station in Newark, but they think crack is worth it. I can't convince them that crack is not worth it. I can't do that. Like whatever. They just come near my cars, get the fuck away from me. The fuck back the fuck up. I ain't giving you no money. And that's that. I can't convince them that crack is, ruined their life. They still think it's great. If you still think that a bag of fucking green paper receipts issued by the Federal Reserve is your best defense against misfortune, okay, then that's what you think. I don't have the power to fucking convince you, but I have two friends. They're called starvation and homelessness, and they're gonna ruin your fucking day in ways that your day has never been ruined before. Should they ever come to your fucking door, and you will find yourself doing all sorts of shit you never thought you would do in order to avoid having a face-to-face meeting with starvation and homelessness. And again, do you think that the green paper receipts are going to protect you? Okay, maybe they will. You know what I mean? You're going to need a lot of them, though. You're going to need a really, really, really lot of them. You know what I mean? And I hope you have a way to get those. But that's what I tell people. I gotta fucking burn through, years of retardation. I gotta try to push this out on the fucking internet. And for children who live in a dream world, they live in a fucking dream world. Like I said, little kids, whatever. They believe in the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus, and that's fine because they're little kids. Let them have that fucking time in their lives. Let them have their fucking innocence. Let it be peeled away slowly year after year. Let them mature at the proper fucking rate. But for adults, you gotta fucking tell things how they are, or either you're a con man. Some type of con man. Tread that. I'm convinced Uncle Sandberg will be co-opting digital currency. I pray I'm wrong. They're gonna try. They are nowhere near close. You have to understand the way they manipulate paper receipts is a very unique way that they do that. And they've always said the Federal Reserve, like, how do you know in 1913, as soon as they started printing money, they said, oh no, we were very strict in how many dollars we printed. How would you know? How would anybody know? How would you know they didn't just take half the supply that they printed and give it to their friends? Because they did, by the way. Of course they did. That's how they bought everything up. You know what I mean? The so-called Cantillon effect. There was a guy named from the 1700s named Cantillon who pointed out that this was a scheme. He was a super rich, aristocratic guy, with the fucking knee socks and the white wig and whatever. And somebody shot him in the head like he was some fucking Italian gangster from fucking Brooklyn. But this was in in England back in the day. Somebody fucking ventilated his fucking skull. You know what I mean? Because he said, hey, the people closest to the money printer benefit the most, right? They get the money first. They take these paper receipts, they buy real assets, you know what I mean? Things of value. And then by the time the inflation hits, you know what I mean? Their asset just goes up in price. That's why stocks go up. That's why real estate goes up. You know what I mean? All these people that are buying real estate, BlackRock, et cetera, they're getting free money, buying things of value that people need, shelter, right? Housing. And then they're just going to sit back because you can't say I'm going to live in the fucking park. I'm going to sleep in the park. You know what I mean? I'm going to sleep in the park and every now and then find the fucking half a fucking stale bagel. You know what I mean? I'm going to fight with the what was it? The fucking pizza rat and the fucking, what was the other one? The squirrel with the egg roll. You know what I mean? I could beat that squirrel. I could punch that squirrel right in the face. Bow! Take that fucking greasy Chinese fucking egg roll from him. Go live in the park. You know what I mean? And go live in the park and you can identify as a fascist. You can identify as a fucking neo-reactionary, proto-Catholic, Protestant. What the fuck? Nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? That's all just dumb shit. Women aren't going to fuck you if you talk that way. You know what I mean? None of like ever. You know what I mean? No matter how many drinks you buy them, and no dude's going to be your friend. Nobody wants it. Like just you live in a dream world. It's use a lot of complex fucking words to hold reality at bay. But you know, this is not going to work. Chris Alton, welcome to the show. Have I ever wanted to try stand up? Yeah, I thought about it a couple of times in my life. I would get destroyed. I wouldn't. I could maybe get in a couple of local venues, but there's no way you would get big because anybody that mocks the current culture is going to be destroyed. Could I do it? I don't know. I'm kind of old to be doing that shit, but yeah, no, what the fuck, you know? I could have done it. There's a bunch of times I used to walk into rooms. Like people think like what I'm doing now is unique. Believe me when I tell you this, people that subscribe to this channel that know me IRL, I do something like this for real a couple of times a week, you know, in different fucking venues. Again, according to what the audience can take. But try that. ESG should scare whites. ESG should scare everyone. You know what I mean? when the electricity goes off, how many times have you been in a blackout? You know, the food in your refrigerator isn't going to last. All these preppers that have unless you have your own diesel generator on the farm, you know what I mean? That's going to kick in. That has a sensor that kicks in when the fucking power grid goes down, and you have like a 1,500 gallon fucking tank of diesel. Those freezers you have full of elk meat or whatever the fuck, you know, these people claim to have. Like I have elk meat, you know, and I have whatever you have. You should probably have rabbits instead, but that shit goes bad in hours. You know what I mean? Even if you don't open the fridge, trust me, the temperature fucking rises and it all goes bad real quick, you know? So, yeah, that prepper thing, you need to think it further through. And then, you know, what could you last a day, 2-3 days a week, you know, and then what, you know? The question has to be, and then what, you know? How do you solve this problem? So knowing that the fucking lunatics, the only good thing right now is the electrical grid serves everybody equally. You know what I mean? They haven't figured out a way to just send electricity to Park Avenue in Manhattan and not send electricity to whatever, like Washington Heights. They can't figure out how to do that yet because the electrical grid was put in the 30s and the 40s. And the power, they're just trying to make it flow as efficiently as they could from place to place to place. They didn't really think in the 1940s, we need to shut off all the power to Harlem. We need to shut off all the power to Wall Street. We need to shut off all the power to Queens. They didn't think that way. So, and that infrastructure, a lot of which is buried, can't change. If they could change it, it would be, again, Wall Street would get power. Harlem wouldn't, you know what I mean? What was it? Park Avenue, and they're very, like they would have as much electricity as they wanted. Whereas, like, you know, the Lower East Side would get nothing. Murray Hill would get a lot, like whatever, different neighborhoods, depending on who lived where, right? They would get all the electricity they want. Then everyone else would get blackouts. If they could do it, they would do it. They can't, I don't think they can do that anywhere. I don't know what the electrical grid in Europe looks like, but it can't be much more sophisticated than the one in the US. It can't be. And if Tesla cars charging in Texas could potentially take down the national grid or cause transformers to blow up on the national grid, this is, again, it's indicative of a creaking, relatively speaking, an old electrical infrastructure that needs to be massively upgraded, but we don't have the manpower to fucking do it. Nobody wants to do the job. Nobody wants to pay to have it fucking done. And nobody even has the skill set to do it. Tread that in the chat. It's aimed at boosting non-white existence. Look at the homepage of anything from FISA to Tennessee Power Authority. Listen, non-whites that just work cheaper than whites. That's all. It's all about getting cheaper labor. And the people in charge of it thinking that, these people will be more compliant and they'll get to have the same standard of living. But if they were honest, the Western elites live at a much higher level than Asian elites. Like if you go to like the people, Pakistan, by the way, Pakistan's on the brink of fucking, people in Pakistan are going, holy shit, things are going to flop over in Pakistan, right? 20 years of the war on terror, everything's fine. Pakistan stable as Iraq, hiding bin Laden, maybe or maybe not, hiding bin Laden. But now, all of a sudden, global recession in Pakistan's, they're looking to fucking kick off a fucking revolution in Pakistan. People going out of control. Again, the most corrupt regimes with the least amount of cushioning between the elites and the serfs are going to be under extreme pressure. So that the elites in Pakistan and India and Asia, whatever, the wealthy people in the West, the industrialists, etc., they look at that, like the fucking whatever, the Shah Pahlavi, whatever the fuck they call the Pakistan guys. They have power, life, and death. You know what I mean? And they live in these fabulous fucking places where they have whatever they want. But that's the tiniest amount of fucking people. You know what I mean? They can't. You can get away with that in Pakistan, but you can't get away with that in the fucking West because people in the West travel all the time. Like, trust me, they're on private jets all the fucking time. That's how I keep this fucking fabulous roof over my head. That's how I pay for the Romanian grape juice. Because I drive boxes of shit that rich people in private jets want fucking delivered or need delivered. You know what I mean? Because airplanes, they don't want the airplanes falling out of the sky. You know what I mean? So they need this little widget. James, go drive the fucking widget. Okay? And that pays me enough to do this fabulous fucking Hollywood production that I'm doing now. The elites of the West think, why can't we live like the fucking Shahs of Pakistan? Well, you could, but the rest of Pakistan lives in fucking, 7th century conditions, and it's Pakistan. If you really pushed it, if the elites had ever fucking pushed it post 9/11, would have fallen in fucking 3 days. Anybody who took a serious look at Pakistan could have knocked that entire country over in a fucking week. You could knock it over with a feather. And the reason why, again, is economic. Just make people more concerned about getting food in their bellies and their families' bellies than getting whipped, and you have revolution. And that's fairly easy to make happen because there isn't that much financial cushioning. There isn't that much between the elites and the fucking serfs. And this is the problem that has to be fucking solved. Tread that. Elites always hold the money bags. Now their Ivy League children are looking to play out pet fantasies of coddling humanity. Or whatever. Their Ivy League children are fucking, they're subject to the fucking same laws. When the money stops working, the money's going to stop working. And what the elites in the West don't understand is they live at the top of a number of very complex systems, really, really complex systems, not the least of which is, but broadly, energy and food in a very broad fashion. You need energy and food to run this shit. I don't care if you're doing spreadsheets or you're the trucker or the people that fucking like farmers. The farmers, they're not like fucking, it's not like, what is it, It's not like the fucking cartoons. It's not like some dude and his wife farming with their kids. That's almost non-existent. You know what I mean? Farmers just own the land. They lease it out to people that are going to grow shit, who pay people to fucking fertilize and fucking irrigate shit. And then they pay a third group to fucking harvest the shit when it's time to fucking harvest. You know what I mean? The farmer may actually own the land, but, you know, that's probably a corporation at this point. And the idea that it's, you know, he's going out in his tractor. Those are fucking groups of fucking, I see this in Pennsylvania. They just come in and they just do the harvest. They just do the harvesting. That's all they do. Or some other people just do the irrigation fucking thing. All of these specialty fucking groups in state after state after state after state, you know, require the agreements. You have to believe that there's going to be diesel in the diesel fucking tanks, that when you go to buy it at a price you can afford to fucking pay. You know what I mean? You have to assume that the guys who know how to run those machines show up to run those fucking machines, and you're going to have to pay them enough to fucking do this. You know what I mean? And fuck with that. Make the money stop working. Say that diesel fuel is Satan and it's got fucking horns in the tail and we can't have diesel fuel. Well, there's no way to get the fucking corn out of the cornfield because the harvester fucking machine, which is a gigantic fucking tractor with all kinds of fucking attachments to it, you know what I mean? That runs on diesel. And if you run out of diesel, that means no food for anyone at any price. The fucking retards that are in charge of this shit don't understand this. They don't understand how complex this is. Your IQ score doesn't mean you understand shit. It's just how fast you can read lines of complicated text. That's all it fucking tells you. That's all it tells you. And for you to that you live in a system wealthy enough where you could fucking hang your fucking entire career on the fucking peg of my IQ is 136. There's nothing I have to do. You know what I mean? I'll just sit back and laugh at the people who can't do what I can do. You know what? LeBron James does the same thing, except his ability is to throw a fucking ball in a hoop. And you know what that depends on? People having the money and the leisure time to watch a guy throw a ball in a fucking hoop. That shit goes first. That shrinks and goes away fastest. You know? And if you can't watch it on TV because there's no electricity, guess what, LeBron? You're gonna have to get a job. I don't know, man. Throwing trash into a bin. You know what I mean? No more basketball. You know what I mean? No more taking the. What did I say? Taking the rock to the hole or something. And I still say that. I don't even know. The people in charge of this shit will be checked by the fact that stuff is going to stop working in a big way. For everyone below that, you're going to have to fucking watch out, man. You're just going to have to fucking watch out because on an individual level in America, people who are barely sort of making it, who barely can sort of control themselves and make it through the day, once their life gets a little bit more difficult consistently, they might be able to take 1 or 2 bad weeks, but like 3 months in a row, they're going to go fucking whatever. They're going to go plow their fucking car into a fucking, a nunnery or something like that. Like horrible shit's going to fucking happen. You know what I mean? Who's the fucking, someone in Texas, there was some woman just went to the airport, started shooting. Of course it's a Dindu. She missed everybody, thank God. Didn't do marksmanship. And I think the police wounded her. But, her clever idea was to walk into a place with heavy video surveillance, go in the ladies' room, put on a fucking hoodie, come out, and start shooting the ceiling. All right, this is a person who doesn't even understand what they're trying to do. And you think, I don't live in Texas, I don't live in Dallas. Stuff like this is going to happen everywhere. More pressure on these people who were wobbly to begin with is going to create crazy chaos, and you got to be aware of this and get your wife to go, come on, me and the kids, you and the kids, out that fucking exit right there. You walk in a building and you start looking at the exits. Like, how do we get out of here? If something goes sideways, how the fuck do we get out of here? And nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to live that way because, again, the agreements of here's how we're going to behave in a civilized fashion. Once that starts going away and you have to start thinking, shit, what if somebody goes nuts? What if somebody starts acting like a psychopath? What do I fucking do? All of a sudden, your life ain't so much fun no more. Now it's really not fun anymore, right? And, You keep thinking, boy, I wish we could go back to fucking. Well, there's no going back. There's only going forward, and at the other end of it is going to be what? I think the what is going to be fucking Bitcoin. You think it's going to be a different, not green paper receipts issued by Zog, but you think it's going to be whatever, fucking purple paper receipts issued by a fascist. You know what I mean? Like you're still thinking everything's going to be different, but we're still going to be trading paper receipts for goods and services. That's your mindset. You know what I mean? Okay, good luck with that. Best of luck with that. You know what I mean? Just like the little kid that thinks every time his tooth falls out, the tooth fairy is going to come. At some point, you realize it's not the tooth fairy anymore, and it doesn't matter how many teeth you lose. You know what I mean? You ain't getting no more money. That revelation is going to come to who it's going to come to when it comes to you. I'm just trying to, for those who can fucking move ahead and stop with the nonsense. Doing this kind of focuses you a little bit. At least I hope it focuses you a little more and helps you make fucking better decisions. If somebody can make a better argument that the future is not going to be global trade, it's going to be global trade. We're going to need shit from over there. They're going to need shit from over here. You're going to need to send money to people across town, across state, across the fucking country. You're going to need to send something that they value in order to get something that you value. And I don't know what that is. Is it electrical transformers, farm equipment? Is it farm products? I don't fucking know. But when the paper receipts are no longer valued, what are you going to send? Are you going to fucking hitch up the horses to the Pony Express and get your scatter gun? You know what I mean? Get your scatter gun and go with the fucking, across country with your fucking bags of gold coins. Do you think that's what's going to happen? I don't think that's what's going to happen. But maybe you think that maybe you have some cowboy fantasy. I don't know. But I think that that's not a likely possibility. I think it's an unlikely possibility. But imagining, we're still going to use paper receipts, just like now, except they're going to be issued by a different group of scumbags, a group of parasites that I prefer. I don't like the left-wing parasite. I like the right-wing parasite. I don't like the parasite that has gay pride parades. I like the parasite that has patriotic blonde girls in a wheat field parades. Whatever the fuck you think is going to happen. It's going to be everything pretty much like it is, except I'll be happy and I'll be making money doing nothing. That's not the way it's going to go. We're going to trade paper fucking receipts. No, that's done. Okay, we're going to go back to before there were paper receipts, like when Marco Polo first went to China. No, that's not going to happen either. Okay, the future is going to be digital. It's going to be electronic. The internet's not going anywhere. Okay. That's a reality. You don't live your life any fucking day without the internet. A day when the fucking internet goes out, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to get a newspaper anymore. To find the fucking weather report. You don't fucking know. You don't go to weather.com on your phone. You don't know you don't know what plans you're going to have for the weekend. The internet's not going anywhere. Electricity's not going anywhere. The future looks digital. Those who are prepared for it will benefit from that, whether that was being in computers in the fucking 80s or being in the internet in the fucking 90s or now being in Bitcoin today. Because something that cannot be fucking corrupted or fucking inflated away by governments is going to have value. Everything else the government's going to do, the elites, the parasite class, whatever you want to call them, they're going to do what they're going to do to it. They're either going to destroy it if it's a real thing of value, or they're going to fucking inflate it away so that no one values it. That's what I think. That's the future that I see in the next 10 or 15 years. And I suggest you be prepared for it. That's it. It's not that fucking tough. It's not that tough. Do I have any more screen shares? Or am I just going to rant like a fucking total psycho for another 2 hours? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so Yeah, that's about it. So anyway, no, I don't. I doubt that anybody even follows me on Twitter. But like I said, I'm suspended on Twitter for the next week or so. Once again, I've been a naughty boy. I've said something I shouldn't say, and so whatever. You know what I mean? I don't. I don't have to start a sock account. Not yet. I can't believe I haven't had to do that yet. Oh, by the way, in the fucking just to be a dick, I put in the description below. I was like, donate to my Patreon. I don't have a Patreon, but everybody has a Patreon except me. There's no way this content would get a Patreon. Patreon people are like, fuck no, fuck him, fuck no. But I just put it in the description because I thought it would be funny. But another hour and a half, so that makes this is almost 4 fucking hours, 3.5 hours of quality content, almost entirely fucking unscripted, and most of it fucking sober. Not tonight, but most of it sober. How lucky are you? How lucky are you to be alive at this time? I don't know. My voice seems better. I don't know if this fucking pollen that's floating around the East Coast fucking destroys my voice. I met somebody else who said the same thing. It feels like every sentence I'm just going to go, but I managed to croak out something, hopefully coherent, hopefully persuasive, hopefully to stimulate your fucking mind. One of the last tweets I got out, somebody tweeted if all you're going to put on social media is arguments, then I don't want anything to do with you, or some shit like that. And I'm like, listen, if you're not posting arguments, because arguments require critical thinking, right? If all I do is agree with you, yay, yeah, MAGA, trust the plan. Yo, bro, yo, I'm with you. What's up? Fist bump, LeBron, right? If that's all social media is, it's a fucking circle jerk. A circle jerk of fucking morons. And again, this is whatever, parasite class looking to extract value from the chumps, from the fucking pros. If someone's not making an argument, okay, then what are you doing? You can agree with it. You could think it's a stupid argument, like, should we be fascist or should we be communist? Starving and homeless is going to fucking decide, okay? Starving and homeless is going to decide what you are, okay? How you identify as a fascist, as a right wing, as a fucking, I'm a Protestant, neo-Heideggerin, the reactionary of a subtle, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? As soon as you don't fucking eat and you live in the fucking park, all of your fucking bullshit goes. And for you, you think, well, not eating and living in the park is miles away. It'll never happen. Well, maybe it will never happen to you. So you can pretend to be whatever you want. You can be a unicorn. You could be a furry person. You could be trans. You could be whatever the fuck you want to be. Because to me, when you say that, you're the same as fucking trans. You're 100% the same as trans. I feel like a girl inside. My left pinky feels like a buffalo, and my right thumb feels like a fucking rattlesnake. What the fuck are you even talking about? You fucking mental case. Starvation and homelessness will clarify your fucking mind in ways that nothing else fucking will. So you think I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. If you're not being argumentative, right? You're not requiring critical thinking. You're not requiring critical thinking, okay? Someone makes an argument, it's a good argument, it's a shitty argument, it's a topic you think is important, it's a topic you don't think is important. But that they're arguing requires you to fucking engage your critical thinking. Is this guy factual? Is this guy not fact? Whatever, right? You have to engage your critical faculties to follow the fucking argument, to understand the argument. So argument's the only thing worth fucking doing. It's the only thing worth doing. Everything else is a circle jerk. And circle jerk as long as you want, until my two friends, starvation and homelessness, show up at your fucking party, and then your life fucking changes. So yeah, that's the fucking unholy duality. You know what I mean? That's the unholy trinity: James, starvation, and homelessness. When the three of us darken your fucking door, you know you are well and truly fucked. How's that? How's that, Chris Alton, for a stand-up comedy routine, for stand-up comedy riff? Whatever. Okay, so an hour and a half. I'm gonna call it. Thank you guys for showing up again in this super impromptu double two streams in a week. But that's my viewpoint. And honestly, if you can push back against it in any sort of serious way, I would love to. I would love to comment below. Show up in the chat and make make your argument. What's it? Fucking Gilbert Salgado the other day was like, blah 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 blah. This guy's got the answers. Listen, this isn't a school test. We're not fucking school kids anymore. You're not writing the fucking answer on the newspaper. You know what I mean? It's that having the right answers is not it. That's a schoolboy's mindset. You know what I mean? Asking the right questions. How can we do this? How can we stop this from happening? How can I protect myself against? How can I protect my family against? How can I advance? Asking questions leads to shit. Okay, showing up with a piece of paper with look, teacher, I have the correct answer. It's for you're a schoolboy. You're not an adult yet. You have to be an adult. Adults ask questions. How does shit fucking happen? Okay, how do we make things that are important to us happen? How do we guarantee them? How do we secure that? What does that look like? What do I need to do today? What do I need to do tomorrow? Right? That's what adults do. That's when it comes down to brass tacks. That's what adults do. It's not about what fucking, your answer to fucking school paper. School's over, man. School is fucking over. I'm not a frustrated school teacher. I'm not a frustrated fucking headmaster or fucking principal. I don't fucking care. Like I never wanted to be that. I looking back at my life, I probably should have been that. You get summers off, you get fucking every super vacations. I should have been a public school teacher. You know what I mean? Sit on your ass all fucking day. You work like 3 hours a day. Would have been fucking great. Would have been a lot better material life than I've had. However, I'm not a frustrated school teacher. I'm not here to put on my tweed jacket and my fucking elbow patches and pretend to be a fucking professor at Harvard. That's not what I'm fucking doing. The school time is over, finished. This is the fucking real world. This is the real world. And I come here with my two friends, starvation and homelessness. And you should fucking learn to run real fast from them. Like, how the fuck do I outrun them? How do I outrun starvation and homelessness? That should be the question you ask yourself. Is it going to be put your money in housing or gold or stocks or whatever? I don't know what you think it's going to be, but all of a sudden, that's an entirely different question that puts the responsibility on you to do shit. That's not the most comfortable place to be. You know what I mean? But if you're a man, you take responsibility, right? You should. Anyway, enough. That's like a super rant. That's like a fucking rant on top of a rant inside a rant on top of a whatever. I'm just repeating myself. And I'm losing my voice. And there isn't much left to drink anymore. So we're going to have to end. We're going to have to end this. We're going to have to call stream Trad Dad, Chris Olton, Virgil, Doc Purple Heart, everybody that showed up, the lurkers, the stream snipers. Thanks for showing up, guys, and I'll talk to you next week.